The majesty of technology, ladies and gentlemen. iOS 7, brought to you by Ayacon. In this panel, we all sit and watch porn. 2 hours awkwardly in silence. Fair enough, sorry, I missed the boat on that. The other half of this panel will be here shortly, but anyway, hello everyone! How's everyone doing? Everyone drink enough last night? You gonna drink enough tonight? Good, we're all at the same place then. My name is Matthew Mercer, I'm an actor from Los Angeles. I've also been working in various places and stages of web series development and web production for the past 5 years. I've been working a lot with companies like Machinima, actually been a lot of projects with Mike Diva, who does a lot of fantastic effects-based projects for the web. Also worked with Geek and Sundry, The Nerdist, those kind of folks. Good people. And it all began way back in the day. The web series that some of you have actually seen and probably been in previous panels here on, There Will Be Brawl. That was a project that was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It was the entirety of my year, 2009, making that web series on a extremely tiny budget, with a lot of characters, a lot of costumes and locations, and somehow survived it, mostly intact. You know, the mental scars are still there. Every now and then I'll have like a flashback, but all in all, it was a worthy experience. I really enjoyed it. Who here has not seen or ever heard of There Will Be Brawl? Raise your hand. All right, we got some folks. Don't be shy, it's all good. It just means I get to show you a quick trailer. If it works. Saying piss ass spiders. Okay. Then now with this thing. Why is it not typing? Why is it not typing?
Because it's a man. They suck.
You're still drunk.
Oh, that's fine. I'm a PC guy, so I'm with you guys on this. Just hand-built my new rig recently. It's kind of nice. I haven't built a computer in a long time by hand. Why do you do this?
Push the trackpad down with your finger.
Oh, we should have blooper reel later.
There we go.
The Mushroom Kingdom wasn't always this way.
Hold your head up. None of us are the heroes we're supposed to be.
Abductions and mutilations in the surrounding areas.
What a city, huh?
How far do you have to fall
It's a good tip, bro. Now you better pay.
before you would sell yourself to the devil to save a gutted kingdom? I'll fuck every fucker in this kingdom until I find my woman!
Connect me to Ganon.
Well, nothing about Ganon. We all will burn.
You're super.
Cannois.
So that was the quick trailer for the series. It was essentially a live-action kind of film noir HBO crime drama version of the Smash Brothers universe. We took the comedy laid in the fact that it took itself very seriously in a ridiculous world. We played a lot of video game tropes in there, a lot of really nice hidden geek references, things that anyone could enjoy, and a lot of really subtle things that the true hardcore gamer could really enjoy. Things like at the gay club, the Captain Falcon worked, was called the Tingles Rosie Rupee Land, based on his ill-fated game. It was a really fun series, and a lot of great people got together to work on it. And one of my strongest friendships was born out of it. Matthew Key, who played Luigi in the series, now is like my writing partner and one of my best friends. So it if anything came out of that, a really strong friendship did, and I'm happy about that. However, it did also throw out my back. It did consume most of my free time. Many sleepless nights editing, as I both directed, did half the costumes on, built most of the props, did all the set location and dressing, directed it, and then did most of the post-editing and effects on the entire series. So it was a very large undertaking that I had to teach myself how to do all those things through various online video tutorials on a website called Lynda, which is really great if you're looking for a resource to learn programs. Lynda.com, Lynda, I think. That's Lyndia. Something like that. I'll figure it out. Sorry. We're all still in that mode right now. But yeah, anyway, it was a really, really fun series. We put the first 2 episodes together on our own, completely out of pocket, and you can definitely see in the early parts of the series we had no budget. You get the first 2 episodes, you're like, oh yeah, this is filmed in someone's backyard. That's because it was. But we put them up online, just mainly for our friends to see if it would find the fan base, and within 2 weeks we had over 100,000 views in the first episode, and we went front page Kotaku, and we got a lot of great coverage on it. And then we were contacted by The Escapist, saying that they were interested in actually funding the rest of the series, which was really exciting, really awesome. So we happily went ahead and accepted their funding, which was, in hindsight, still very tiny by comparison, as at the end of the series I was still maybe $4,000 in debt at the end of things for what the series was funded. So it was worth it. But overall, at the time especially, there wasn't a lot of money to be made in web. That's slowly changing. The transition to monetizing of the online community is starting to finally find its footing and functionality. But at the time, it did not exist. You were either like doing top 10 lists in your living room off a webcam and making money, or you were doing this series and going into debt. But it was a great ride, and when all was said and done, we made a lot of fantastic contacts in the web community and have since done projects for FearNet and Machinima. So primarily with web, you gotta really find an idea that you think sticks with an audience. You know, it can be original, it can be based off of an existing license. It's really easy to pick content that's based on an existing license because you already have an installed fan base. And a really, really interesting, cool way to kind of establish a network and fan base is to do something like a short or a sketch, some sort of a funny video that is based on a video game or a film or some sort of license that has a really strong following. Thus, you'll already find an installed fan base for that one video, and you kind of Trojan horse it. You then find those people that you've now connected to that are a fan of that particular, episode or that particular sketch, and then you can now force feed them all your original content. Like, oh, you like that video made about Grand Theft Auto? Here's this original piece I wrote in college, And that's one way to get your content out to a larger fan base. You kind of have to have that initial shoehorned project to get people to look at it. As far as getting involved in communities that can pay, like case in point Machinima, it's a very, very large network that brings a lot of people on board to varying degrees of pay scales, depending on how much project. Welcome. The other half of the panel is on her way, so that'll be fine. I'm going to get through all the stuff that she's not involved in first, so we can go ahead and tag team this as we continue. But yeah, so getting involved in the community like that, you have to first establish a little bit of a following. A lot of the people, these companies look for subscribers, look for a subscriber base for your YouTube channel, and that's kind of what the driving force is behind starting a channel funded by these different web content umbrellas, essentially. Hello everyone, this is Mercer, by the way.
Is it? Yeah. Oh, yeah, there we go. Sorry I'm late. Sorry.
She was teaching people how to fight. Some of you may have been there.
Yes.
It was fun. So yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and let's introduce you now and some of the stuff that you've done. Marisha.
Okay. Hi, I am Marisha Ray, and I am an actor and also a host, on-camera host in Los Angeles. And I also specialize in movement and combat for the camera, which, once again, if anyone was in my last panel, I hope you had fun. So yeah, and let's see, what have I made? What I kind of have going on right now is a Stephanie Brown Batgirl fan web series called Batgirl Spoiled, which was all independent and out of pocket and not paid for by DC. And yeah, it was definitely a project of love. I'm going to play it.
Yes. Yes.
Do the teaser first. Do this one.
Okay.
Purple City. A city with faults, to say the least. But it has its protectors, doesn't it? Let's fix that. I'm not the only one who can go toe-to-toe with the Bat family, you know. So what makes you think you're more than a
Ayacon wireless, yay! Hold on, come on, don't be a bugger. We'll just go ahead and do that and jump back in the center. Why not? We'll make it work. One way or another.
with the Bat family, you know. So what makes you think?
By the way, you two.
I'm not the only one who can go toe-to-toe with the Bat family, you know. So what makes you think you're more than a stain on my shoe? Deep down, you know you can't keep up. You know that one day soon you'll reach your final act. How does it feel when you know how your story is going to end? Riddle me that.
Of course, I was like,
How your story is going to end.
Really?
Riddle me that.
Good.
noticed Taliesin Jaffe as the Riddler, everybody, for those of you who know who he is.
Taliesin Jaffe's voice actor, also the director of the Hellsing anime. So, he's a good man. And director of Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and a lot of other Capcom projects. So, he's a good man.
Yeah, so that has been quite an endeavor for me for the past 2 years. Yeah, we did all of that out of pocket, and episode 1 came out, and of course there are things that we realize are wrong with it, but that's kind of what you get when you only have like a few $1,000 budget. So yeah, it was definitely a labor of love, and we ultimately put it out for the fans and for the community, because poor Stephanie, she got shat on. So we just really wanted to kind of continue the story of Stephanie Brown, and we just think she's in my opinion, I think what DC does well, because it's not a whole lot, is they're women characters. So we really wanted to kind of showcase the women of the Gotham universe, because you don't get to see them on camera a whole lot, and that's really unfortunate. So we wanted to make sure you saw Harley Quinn in there, and Catwoman, of course, Batwoman, The Question is a big player of ours, so we really wanted to kind of focus on the ladies of the DC universe. And this is going to be a 10-episode installment. We have episode 1 and 2 out now. It took us forever to get episode 2 out, because everyone on our production team started dying. They had extended members of the family. A lot of deaths happened all at once, and it put the production on hold quite a lot. And that's something else, with web, no one made money off of this. None of the actors, none of the DPs, nobody. In fact, it cost us a lot of money. And you get that a lot with the web, and you have to be, but everyone on there is pretty much, we're also web creators, and it kind of turns into like this community of understanding. And if you make web, you know you're starving and broke at the moment. So, yeah, it was just a huge collaboration of love, and it was kind of amazing. But when you run into those snags in no one's getting paid, we don't have the luxury of the big budget films in which you can just throw money at the problem. So, for example, our main editor, his grandmother died, and we can't. What are you gonna do? We can't be like, oh well, I'm sorry, you can't leave to go to your grandmother's funeral because you have to work on this free project. So you kind of have to make sacrifices in that way, but everyone has to make those sacrifices. And
It's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of sacrifice. I used to have a pinky on this hand. Oh shit. Never mind. Web really is, it's a place where you go to prove yourself and to really kind of have an avenue where you can circumvent the usual process of entertainment that has kept most content creators from getting their stuff out to an audience for the past 40, 50, 60 years. You can just create something that you're passionate about, put it online, and find an audience for it. It could be just a handful of people that really love it. It could be an extremely large audience that really loves it, but nevertheless, you can actually get it directly to people that you know you've made this for. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But it is definitely a labor of love. So you have to prepare yourself for a lot of long nights, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of tension to certain friendships that are, getting people involved in it. It's much easier to get your friends to work for you for free. It's much harder to get your friends to continue to work for you for free and still be your friends. So you gotta find that fine balance. Do everything with a smile. Always ask people if they can help you with something. Don't demand them. That, when heading a project for me, is a very important part, is to make sure that everyone feels like they're a part of it. Not just a cog in a machine, but this is everyone's project, and everyone should be proud of what they're working on. And through every stage of Brawl, there's kind of a tenuous good cop, bad cop relationship that me and Zach had with the rest of the cast and crew, where he would be like, hey, you, I need you to go do this. And I'd be like, hey, you're awesome. It'd be really awesome if you could help me go get this done. And so we had this kind of like cyclical trade-off of him taking people off and me having to fix the problem. So you want to make sure that everyone who's donating their time feels appreciated and feels like they themselves are also a part of this project, because they are. Because these things wouldn't happen if you didn't have all these gracious, talented people lending their time and energy towards you. And if they are your friends, ultimately they are your friends. And you want to make sure that they're aware of the fact that you value that friendship and cherish that they're willing to go with you on this very stressful journey. And I stress how stressful it can be at times. There have been shoots I've been on where I haven't slept in 72 hours because I've been trying to edit on a deadline, then have to go to set, go into makeup for 2.5 hours, and shoot for 12 hours, and get out of makeup to drive home, at which point I'm like hallucinating. I'm starting to see patterns and faces in the shadows, and starting to, feel like I'm playing Eternal Darkness for real life, and it's a bad, bad circumstance.
halos around car headlights. I was like, oh my god.
No, I saw faces in car headlights. I'd see the brake lights and see the two eyes and the grinning mouth, and I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna pull over and just nap. Before I end up killing someone, I'm just gonna sleep.
Yeah, and that's actually something that you have to keep in mind, because I know you did it with Brawl and we did it with Batgirl, whereas we're working with a limited budget. It's all coming out of pocket. So once again, you don't have the luxury. And most sets, they won't let a fight shoot go over 6 to 8 hours because it's exhausting. But we couldn't do that because that means you have to buy the location for 2 nights, you have to buy permits for 2 nights, you have to call all of your stunt people who are working for free for 2 nights or 3 nights, however long it would take. So the fight scene that we did for episode 1, we shot episode 1 and 2 together because they took place in the same location, and that was a 14-hour shoot. And we just had to go. I was in the suit the whole time, and it's quite an endurance test.
My actual role on set was the keep Mercer alive field. That was my position in the credits. So just make sure she didn't die. And she's here, so I did a good job. Yay! It's a lot of work, but it's very, very rewarding to actually have that finished product and be proud of it. And when you find other people appreciate it too, it's a wonderful thing. And on the point of appreciation, remember, this is YouTube. This is the internet. There's going to be a lot of just needless hate. There'll be a lot of negative comments that just come with the territory. Don't take it personally. Everyone gets them. Someone could put up like the most glorious web series ever that is like a soul-changing journey of a young hero to a man that just anyone can connect with, and the top comment would be like, oh, it's fucking fake, lame. You know, it'll be upvoted 95 times, and you're like, oh.
Or my favorite, Stephanie Brown isn't like that.
My favorite, die in a fire. Yeah, there's a whole plethora of really creative, wondrous ways to make you lose faith in humanity on YouTube. I mean this in all seriousness. Everyone gets those comments, so even if you're getting those, don't take it personally, because there's always going to be detractors. There's always going to be people that are highly judgmental of their free content they did nothing to acquire.
Yeah, and you have to keep in mind, what I always tell people is, at the end of the day, they're still watching your shit. You still win. They're at home in their basement. They're gonna jerk off after watching your video. You still win.
You cost them the energy it took to brush those Cheeto chip crumbs off their chest, to lean forward, to write that comment. It's fine. And really what it comes down to is for each person that has a negative comment, there's 10 people that enjoyed it that didn't write a comment. It's usually the detractors are the most verbal. That goes for any form of forum or anything online. The people that have a negative opinion of something are always the loudest. So for each negative comment you get, imagine there are 10 people that truly enjoyed it and just clicked off when they finished, you know? Not everyone's going to go ahead and leave a positive comment, but that doesn't mean they didn't enjoy it. So.
Well, I also look at the likes to dislike ratio too as well, because I mean you'll see a video with like I think our the first episode of Brawl has like 94% likes to dislikes, but there'll be times where you scroll down on the comments and just the top 10 comments are all shit, this sucks, lame, and it's like, well, clearly you're like that other like 4%. You know, it's the vocal minority.
Yeah. Plus, YouTube's superhero alter ego is Captain Sexism. So you gotta deal with that a lot too.
I thought that was Facebook.
Yeah, don't fight Captain Sexism.
The internet.
It's the internet. It's a fight on the internet. Fight on the internet, you're done. But yeah, so these are some of the projects that we've worked on. We've also done a few comedic sketches. Did you want to show Sinasutra?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've never screened this before. So we'll do stuff just for funsies, which is effectively what this was. So this was a sketch that I wrote along with the help of the rest of our friends in writing group, and we shot it in our bedroom with just like a 5D, and just me and a few friends made a lot of the props, and once again, just like I said in my booth for anyone who is at my combat panel, just make shit. If you have an idea, and of course a lot of the web, think cost effective, think cheap. So we spent maybe $100 on this sketch, and that was just in the material for the props.
Yeah, we wrote it one weekend. You wrote it. We all finished the final version of it, and we shot it the next weekend. Finished editing a week later. So 2 weeks it took for us the full production of this sketch, just for fun on the side.
Yeah, we just shot it in our bedroom. It took us like just a few hours.
Yeah.
So.
And apologies in advance, because this is not family friendly.
Are you and your partner looking for something to spice up your love life? You need the Sinasutra Bedroom Roleplay Kit, Jurassic Park Edition. Includes sultry couples games like Where's the Goat? Hold on to her butt with this replica Samuel L. Jackson severed arm, cast in realistic silicone, complete with 3 vibration settings. Our dress-up set lets you show him you're a clever girl. The Sinasutra Jurassic Park role-playing kit also includes 1 can of Luvisol to help you deliver your genetic materials, Mr. DNA beads, showing 1 Dilophosaurus frill head, and a half-full glass of water. Don't touch that dial. If you order the next 30 minutes, you'll also receive our special Liz and Merce themed undergarments. Nature always finds a way, and so will your fantasies with the Sinisutra Jurassic Park Edition roleplay kit.
Call now to order your complete Sinisutra bedroom roleplay kit, Jurassic Park Edition.
Sinisutra. Lights, camera, action.
So it's just silly shit. But those are the fun things to put together. If you have an idea, it's so easy, more so than you think so, to just shoot something like that and put it together. The software tools to edit and just throw on some filters and make it look fun and silly like that are readily available, and there are communities online where you can meet people that know how to do this editing and want projects to work on. Or conversely, you can learn to edit yourself, which is not as hard as you think it is. And that website I mentioned earlier, lynda.com, I taught myself how to use both Adobe Premiere and Adobe After Effects in one day. Mind you, it was a strenuous one day, 10-hour going through video tutorials process, but after that I was able to handle all my own projects. And that helped me in all other aspects of editing, like audio editing, to create my own VO demo reels and everything. It was extremely useful. And it only costs, I think it's $30 a month, but you really only need that one weekend to do it, and you just cancel, and you basically essentially spend $30 to teach yourself whatever you need to do, and then you're good.
And yeah, and part of the reason we did this, by doing little sketches like this and putting it out, and we have a lot of friends in the industry, ultimately this was just to show our sketch writing skills and what we can do for $100. And that's also part of why we did Batgirl, and you kind of want to that's kind of the point of the web, and showing people look, if this is what I can do for 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000, think of what I can do if you give me that budget of 30,000 or 40,000 or so on and so forth.
And they'll go, oh, that's cool. How much can you do for a few thousand?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh. But yeah, it's really easy to put something silly like this together, and then once you've established one finished project, you've gotten an idea of how well you and the people you brought together on it work together, and who's better fit for each roles in the production, who enjoys which aspects more, and then you've essentially created a production team. And then you decide what do you want to do next. And you start putting stuff together from there. And some of them will have a higher count of views than others, but nevertheless it's a body of work that you have as an example as to the quality of what you and your team can produce. And it's been extremely helpful. This helped lead me into a series that me and Zach Grafton, the guy who I co-created Brawl with, we began developing a musical web series, like a fantasy musical web series that we're still in the process of developing. And we created a Kickstarter video for it. We were about to go live on Kickstarter. And then a production team had gotten a hold of the video via one of the people who were involved in the Kickstarter video. And they went like, whoa, hold on, don't put it on Kickstarter yet. We want to try and sell this. And we're like, okay, I'm okay with that. And I turned into Scooby-Doo. And so they went ahead and we signed contracts with them, and we went through this whole long paper, signing process and trying to get our lawyers involved to make sure that all the contracts were sound. It was a pain in the ass. Paperwork will be the death of anything creative, I swear to God. And then 9 months went by as they went to try and sell the project, but I don't feel they represented it properly, and it was just a long, long wait of going to all these pitch meetings with Hulu and Universal, and I felt it wasn't sold properly. So we've now just gotten the rights back, and we're going to go ahead and shoot a new updated Kickstarter video and put that up sometime towards the end of this year. So keep an eye out for that. No, this is not a Scooby-Doo thing. That was just me messing around. That is my psychosis. This is a fantasy web series. Like when I say fantasy, I mean like princesses and like kingdoms and stuff, but kind of modernized. We have some great cast involved. We have Ashley Birch from Hey Ash, What You Playin'. We have Mary-Kate Wiles from the Lizzie Bennet Diaries.
And also School of Thrones, which we should scream.
I'll get to after that. We have Kevin Sorbo and Juliet Landau involved. She's awesome. When I met Kevin Sorbo, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, we both looked at his hair, and he was like, "What's your mother's name?" How
they
old
have
is
matching
she?
hair.
Yeah.
It's pretty uncanny.
He's probably my dad.
Yeah. Well, their hair touching, I'm pretty sure cured cancer.
Or it became a singularity and would destroy the entire planet.
It'd
Be frightening. But so the point I was making was while we were waiting for this process of trying to sell it, this arduous process, we just got sick of waiting for the usual channels of development for anything entertainment-based, and so let's just shoot something. So we came up with this silly idea for a web series called School of Thrones. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but it's essentially a comedic parody of Game of Thrones, where we took the characters and the houses and kind of the social dynamic between them and put it into a 1980s John Hughes high school film. So you have the Lannister clique, you have the Stark clique, and prom is coming.
Is everyone here Game of Thronesers? Yeah.
Let's go ahead and film an episode. Why not?
And while you look that up, I think kind of the point of that is try not to put all of your eggs in one basket. A lot of these things take a long time to move anywhere, and just kind of do a few things.
It isn't easy being a Stark. If freshman Sansa knew sophomore Sansa was going to fall for a Lannister, she'd have suffocated herself in a puppy avalanche.
Whoa, Sansa, eyes front. You know what the father says about Lannisters?
Yeah, it's always about daddy, isn't it?
This again. Oh, hey, watch
Yeah,
out.
that's cold, sis. A little respect.
How about a little mind your own business?
Yo, eyes front.
John, I got it covered.
Yeah,
Just
I
saying.
know you were adopted, John. Oh!
Hey, who's that funny space suit in?
Debbie's Targaryen.
Jon Snow. You have a thing for dragons, huh?
Sorry, new girl, but you should hear this now. We can never be friends.
The cliques of Westeros Valley High aren't allowed to intermingle.
High school politics.
Wait, what? Cliques?
Yeah, cliques. Stark.
Lannister!
Baratheon!
Targaryen, apparently.
We can't be that different, right? We're young, we're hormonal, we all love the Shadow Dragons, and
We're actually more of a dog family.
when we get to know each other, we'll realize all the wonderful things we have in common.
We are Starks. Our way is the vintage way. And prom night is coming.
Have you embraced the Lord of Light as your personal savior?
Prom night is dark and full of terrors. A vote for Stannis is a vote for R'hllor.
Loris, swing by the library Friday night. We'll be serving non-alcoholic punch.
Oh, sorry, dorks. The cool kids already have plans. What's up, big bro?
Renly, you dick! You dare throw a party the same night as mine!
I know, douche move. Don't be mad. Just find it impossible to take you seriously. You're such a cute little guy.
I told you to stop saying that!
Well, don't worry. You'll grow out of it.
He's just jealous because you're so totally adorable.
I'm not adorable! I'm Stannis!
What can I say? Cute is out. No one wants you for their prom king, bro. You've seen this kind of thing before?
What's the deal with a little brother on brother? Kinda hot.
This is serious business, Junior Stark.
Nice week, by the way.
I've spent my life transferring from school to school. Prep, private, public, they've all collapsed on out-of-control prom nights. I cannot witness that again. I must conquer the school with flame.
What now?
Ooh, are you a pyromaniac? Hey, Joffrey's coming!
Come on, dog. Let's pay the security guards to tase the poor kids. Oh, cutie. Ain't you that Stark sister? Sexy name. You know who I am?
Joffrey Lannister, the principal's son and last year's prom king, and the student body president, and the God's one and only flawless creation. And I have a poster of you, but
Here's the DVD video. Joff wants to stay prom king. And with the right prom queen, he can rule the school for Ed. You know what I mean?
Cool.
In dark times like these, we outcasts have to stick together.
So yeah, that's a little taste of school from. Thank you so much. And for those of you who are fans of the series and the books, we understand, we know it's Joffrey Baratheon, we said Lannister just for the ease of the circumstance, because it's been way too complicated to go into that aspect of the whole thing. So anyway, we didn't forget. It was a conscious artistic decision. Do I go ahead and open up some questions and see where that leads us from there?
Sure.
All right, we'll start doing some questions, because why not? I see hand over here. Yep, you with the blue scarf. Yep.
Right in front. Yeah,
You're good.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? If you have a question, I should have done this my last 12 panels. Come on down and jump on the podium. Make it a formal presentation. Plus, that way I don't have one poor bastard having to run back and forth the whole time, killing himself.
So? Yes.
Yes, you're good. Hello.
Who animated that intro?
It's amazing, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That
I
intro
know.
is ridiculous. That's the show. Like, I think we're just gonna release
If you
that.
know, what program as well?
I don't know. I think it was Maya, but his name is Kyle. Kyle Natal. Huh? And then, seriously, his name is Kyle Natal. He goes by what is his YouTube name? I'm trying to find this real fast. It's like a soup steak man, mega steak man. He does a lot of like web stuff. He did his Wreck-It Ralph in 60 seconds. I don't know if you guys ever saw this. This is another example of his work, but he's great.
I don't want to be a bad guy anymore.
I can't change who we are.
Only good guys win medals. Well, I'm gonna win a medal. I'm gonna wreck you.
Ralph's game jumped?
Our job is to get them to the top of that building so they can win a medal.
That medal's my ticket to a better life.
Oh no, long sleeve!
Athletics must not be.
I'll win the race and get you back your medal.
If Penelope becomes a racer, they'll think I'm digging this bro.
I do this real good.
You are a bad guy.
It's too late, Ralph. There's a little girl whose only hope is this card. Please fix it.
I'm gonna win.
That sidebug multiply.
No. There's no one I'd rather be than me. I don't need a medal to know I'm a good guy.
So yeah, he's amazing. He's based in Canada, which was very difficult for us to work with him as far as putting files back and forth to him. We had to like ship a hard drive to him out there, and then that costs a lot of money to go to Canada when you have a very short time to finish your series. He's an incredibly talented CG artist, and I hope he starts getting more work. I've been suggesting him to all these different companies because he really deserves it. And he did not charge us enough at all for what he was worth to do that intro for us in School of Thrones. So we're trying to make up for that on getting him work. But yeah, his name's Kyle Natal. He's Mega Steak Man on YouTube, and definitely keep an eye out for the stuff that he's doing. It's brilliant. Yeah, thank you. Oh, I see a gentleman coming down. All right. Come on down to the front of the stadium. You are the next contestant on Ask Me a Fucking Question.
What's the prize?
The prize is the ability to walk back up to your seat.
With the series you've done previously, have you had any problems from either Nintendo with There Will Be Brawl or DC with the Batgirl series?
Through Brawl? No, because we made no profit off of it, and we were very, very eager to put it at the top of each episode. This is done through the fair use clause of, it's a parody. It's obviously not a licensed Nintendo product. There was no way that anyone could ever confuse this with something Nintendo would put out proper. And we were just very, very vocal about that fact up front of each episode. It doesn't mean that that's enough to necessarily deter a lot of companies, but Nintendo never gave us any trouble. We actually got emails from various Nintendo employees saying they were fans of the series, and I was like, yes! So Brawl never really had a problem. As far as Batgirl is concerned, if you want to take that.
We haven't had a problem either, but kind of the same thing. If you notice, we had a disclaimer at the top of every trailer, every episode. We do not own this. It's the please don't sue me clause. For the most, and we know people at DC, for example, Gail Simone, who wrote Stephanie Brown back in the day, knows who we are and has tweeted about us and things like that. So there were a lot of the writers and as well as
The guy.
That guy who works at DC. Yeah. He knows who we are. So yeah. From what I understand, and once again, we weren't making any money. We made that very clear. Oh, yeah, Paul Dini is aware of us. And for the most part, from what I can see, they tend to be okay as long as you don't do something completely awful and slanderous with their characters. Because I have heard of some instances, there's a really terrible, terrible fan film called The Death of Batman. And I don't mean
why are you inflicting this upon them?
I'm not. It's an example. I don't know if anybody has seen this, but it got popular just for like the sheer shock value. But it shows in this fan film Batman getting raped and addicted to heroin and all sorts of really awful things, and they got a cease and desist because Batman addicted to heroin. That's what we want people to see. So as
They're just
long
angry
as
because they were planning to do that in the new 52. So, like shit, they beat us to it.
I wouldn't be surprised, but so yeah, and for the most part, especially with we're working with Stephanie Brown, they're not using her in D52 anymore. They kind of got rid of her.
They got in trouble with her because they put her in Batman Incorporated Leviathan Strikes and then confirmed that Batman Incorporated is still part of the new 52, but apparently a bunch of stuff that happens in that didn't happen.
Yeah. Right.
So it's confuses.
It's very yes.
the DC fever dream, as some people refer to it.
So it kind of, a lot of these companies kind of look at it as free advertisement, towards, and we're not making any money and we're not really bothering them. So for the most part, they tend to be okay. Just if you make any fan stuff, just pretty much be upfront, like we're not making any money, and don't try and charge, don't sell T-shirts because they are watching you. Yeah. They are watching you.
There's been a lot of Kickstarters gone up recently, fan projects based on like Borderlands that got shut down partway through its Kickstarter because they were selling T-shirts of designs of Borderlands characters. Yeah. And so they got taken down. And
it's a grey area and be very, very careful.
Right.
Very careful, yeah.
We actually plan on running a Kickstarter for Batgirl, but we, and I have seen successful Kickstarters for fan projects go out and be okay. I think the trick is you don't want to like sell or give incentives of any of their like licensed stuff, and I think as long as you campaign for a low enough number, for example, we're going to start with $4,000 for our Kickstarter. One, because we want to make sure we make our goal, and two, $4,000 isn't necessarily enough for DC to care. And it's pretty apparent that like no one can make money off of $4,000. So just be careful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. And as an addendum to that too, some of the YouTube larger networks like Machinima and game trailers and people like that, they have really, really good relationships with video game companies. And so if you want to do a licensed fan-based project and you have the means of pitching it to them and actually get it picked up, that's a very safe way to go ahead and do so and still make money off of it. But you have to kind of do it under that company umbrella because they have these relationships and the developers have already given the okay to these larger YouTube networks to use their license within a certain spectrum. So
yeah, for example, I'm actually a part of a series that's going to be coming out soon called Arclay, which is a Resident Evil kind of spin-off series. And I'm pretty sure Sean has been in contact with some people who work over like Resident Evil, and they're aware of it, and once again are allowing him to do things within the confines. And a lot of times, once again, for example, with Batgirl, we made a very strong choice to not put anything out or advertise or any teasers around the release of The Dark Knight Rises, because they'll do that too. For like a lot of times they won't care too much, but if your stuff starts, and like it's gonna affect it, but they'll feel like if your stuff can get confused or misinterpreted with being associated with the film, a lot of times they'll get a little bit more skittish about that. So we were conscious of it. So 3 weeks before and 3 weeks after The Dark Knight Rises came out, we went on like a hiatus and didn't show our faces because they will get a little skittish when they're putting out stuff.
yeah, like for School of Thrones, we made sure we got all those out before the new season of Game of Thrones started, so we didn't step on any toes there.
Yeah.
So that's another good valid point to keep in mind, to not encroach too far on the territory. Let's see, we have more questions over here. We'll get back to you guys in a second. This gentleman here, and then we'll see if we can get a microphone up to...
Alright, just project!
I can project anyway. I just
Alright.
had a quick follow-up question. There Will Be Brawl was hosted on Escapist, right?
Correct.
There was advertising there. I would assume there was advertising before the video. Did
Mhm.
they not see you on that part because you were making profit through advertising?
But we weren't making that profit. The Escapist was.
Profit, but it was covered, but you're allowed to make advertising to cover the cost of production, am I correct then?
Possibly. The Escapists essentially came back to us, this is in 2008 when we did this contract originally. They basically said like, hey, we'll give you X amount of money per episode to make this series. And we were like, oh golly, geez, that sounds amazing. In hindsight, it was nowhere near enough. Because it was just covering, and we weren't trying to make a profit on it, we just wanted to meet cost. But like, we barely made costs without even paying the crew or actors. That was like, we made just enough to pay for like the locations, the equipment rentals, for the costuming, prop costs. For food, lots of food. Always feed your actors, people, and your crew. Make sure, above anything else, nothing will make a crew and cast crankier and want to walk off your set if you don't provide food. And I mean food.
Healthy food, not donuts.
Not donuts, not Capri Suns and Skittles.
Although we always have Capri Suns because Capri Suns are the shit.
But yeah, so like, make sure you have a variety of decent food available, because when about hour 7, hour 8 hits and people start hitting their energy lulls, you need something to pick them back up again.
It goes a long way.
It
You'd
really
be
does.
surprised.
But yeah, there was no advertising revenue for us on that project. It was mainly through The Escapist. But The Escapist was also one of those companies that had relationships with the game developers and the publishers.
So they were able to
Yeah. Supposedly. I never heard about it, so I assume it was okay.
It's tricksy.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you don't hear anything, it's a good sign.
Yeah. We didn't run advertisements on Batgirl because we were being very careful. Some people do, and you'll be totally fine. It's kind of, it's tough. It's really your call. And I mean, you want to be careful with using any licensed music, because YouTube will immediately pick that up. They got like algorithms and stuff too.
Yep. For music in particular, there's a great website and resource. I can't remember the actual name of the website, but the guy who runs it, his name is Kevin MacLeod. Spelled the classic Highlander style, MacLeod. Kevin MacLeod, and he has a fantastic website where he just creates soundtrack pieces for like tension, for silly bouncy stuff, for cartoons, for battle sequences, for noir pieces. He just has hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of royalty-free, free to download musical tracks, and you hear a bunch of that shit in Brawl. You hear a bunch of that shit in School of Thrones. I've been using that for years, and I give him full credit. He's an amazing resource. So Kevin MacLeod, definitely look up his stuff and see if any of that fits. You can search for it by this type of mood. Like, it's an amazing site. Definitely check that out.
Yeah. Or if you have any composer friends, have them compose your own music.
Yeah.
Which, and I mean, a lot of times there's a ton of musicians out there who actually jump at the chance. I have like a whole repertoire of musicians who are constantly, once again, for the most part, you'll find other people who are also trying to get their name out and who are trying to practice and who are trying to build up credits. So you can find plenty of people who are willing to help you out and work for free.
All right, next question. Okay. Up the stairs, boy.
Speaking about the copyright and stuff, have you figured out how you're gonna distribute there will be Brawl DVDs?
Whenever that gets around to happening, we're just gonna sell it for cost. Like, I don't want to make a profit off of it, and if people want to still buy it, then I'm more than happy to provide. So I don't think there's going to be a profit involved in that whatsoever.
Maybe you should run a Kickstarter for that. Because once again, it costs money to produce and distribute the DVDs.
I guess that would be I'm bad at the whole business thing, if you haven't noticed. I'm on the creative side of things. So like, but how do you sell it? I'm like, they buy it? I'm terrible at that. So that's probably a good idea.
Why don't you sell autographs from the cast members and package the DVD with it?
Well, but, yeah, we
That'd
could
be a
do
good
a
Kickstarter incentive, definitely.
I mean, well, the Kickstarter would be $20 gets you a DVD of Brawl, and then you could have the other incentives returned. Do you still have all you threw away a lot of the props?
We have some of them still wandering around. The ones that didn't mold over in the rain.
Right.
We had poor Matt Key, who played Luigi in Brawl. We basically filled his garage with all the costumes and props we finished. And there they festered for years and years. In the darkness, in the upper portion of his garage was this creepy Kirby just staring at him in a corner shadow. I think he's called Kirby. Although Kirby over the years has kind of gotten...
Do you still have the giant barrel?
I don't know if we still have the barrel. I'll have to check that. I'll have to check on that.
Is that the barrel that broke Damien's nose?
Yep. Well, no, it wasn't Damien's. It was Paul Durr.
Oh, it was Paul's. That's right.
Yeah, during the Mario vs. Donkey Kong bar fight scene. No, if you haven't seen the series, this kind of series it is.
We like injuring Paul. I injured him on Batgirl too.
Yeah, the actor who played Mario, he was supposed to get hit in the head by Donkey Kong, picks up a barrel and throws it at him because he's Donkey Kong. But they hadn't coordinated the timing right for it, and Damien chucked it right at his face as opposed to at his chest. And Paul had just turned around and wasn't prepared to get it, and it just hit him right smack in his prosthetic nose, which, isn't much of a padding for his real nose. Mind you, they had blood effects, and like blood on their face from the fight scene, but all of the blood that was coming out of his nose was real. And he didn't tell us this, because Paul's like one of the mightiest, like hardcore, toughest nails men I've ever met in my life. And after the shoot was done, we're all getting ready. He's like, all right, cool. And he starts pulling his prosthetic nose off, and he pulls it out, and it's just like pooled, dried, brown blood all in this prosthetic nose bobble. And he kind of tips it over, and it's like, and we're all like, whoa! He's like, yeah, I should probably get this checked out. That's fine. You guys have a good night. I'm also like, let me never make you angry. That's another good thing on set, remember, safety.
Because you're probably going to be shooting illegally without insurance.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you can get insurance, if you can afford insurance, get insurance. It's awesome. But you may not always be able to do so. So keep first aid kits handy. Make sure if you're doing anything intense, have a stunt coordinator available, somebody who has some experience in movement and fight choreography, or someone who knows how to do things safely so nobody gets hurt. And don't use real weapons. Please don't. No live steel. If you do use live steel, make sure that they're built for screen combat, so there's no actual blade edge to it. It's a dull edge, and make sure there's been a lot of rehearsal involved. If just be smart about it.
I'm over here like shaking my head and agreeing, but we did use that live sledgehammer on Batgirl.
I was not happy about that. which is why I went and bought you a fake sledgehammer. Like rehearsing with an actual like gigantic, like I don't know, 40-pound sledgehammer, inches away from my girlfriend's face. I'm like, we're gonna. What are you doing? Like, oh, we're just not getting close enough to hit her. I'm like, oh yeah, that's how it all starts. This is how that true Hollywood story of the the beginning of the end of the career after her nose is flattened. So yeah, don't do what she did.
Yeah, don't. But
Don't
yeah.
do it.
It's pretty cool, but don't do it. But yeah.
Next question. We're gonna hand over here and then we'll go over there. Oh, we've gotten to the runner. I tried to avoid it. Sorry, buddy.
I'll shout.
It certainly seems like There Will Be Brawl did quite well pretty quickly. Did you actually advertise it and put it, like purposefully put it out there, or is it just kind of mainly word of mouth?
That in particular was mainly word of mouth. We didn't know how to advertise it, and we just kind of wanted to make it and get it to some fans and friends of ours, and just kind of like, look, we made something, haha. And so we sent it, we put it, this is way back when Facebook was like just kind of kicked off, started, and so we sent it on our Facebook walls, and it was like, guys, check it out, it's fun, yeah. Emailed some friends, did a very, very minimal kind of advertising blast. And it just kind of took off from there. Every day the counts kept like doubling and tripling, and then times 10, times 100, and it was kind of ridiculous. And then once we hit for front page Kotaku, it was like, oh shit! Now we're going to be actually watched and judged, but by the fan base. So yeah, that was mostly just word of mouth, which is how a lot of things happen. But as far as actual online marketing goes, especially when you're putting a series online for the first time and you want to kind of do a marketing blast, social networking is the best way to do it. Both, not just to your friends and family, but find social networking groups and forums that are based on similar fan bases or similar genres to what you've produced, and sign up and drop it on there as a forum post. Hey guys, series coming out, check it out, let us know if you like it or not, spread it around, thank you, that kind of stuff. Also a lot of blogs. If it's video game related, go ahead and shoot an email with the link to the episode when it comes up to places like Kotaku, IO9, Topless Robot, a lot of really good geek blogs, Destructoid, or if it's something that's more comic book related, you can go to many other comic book based things, or if it's just a complete original series, find whatever blogs are very, very heavily based on that genre, and email them. It won't always get posted, but every now and then you'll get the one mentioned, and that's a huge boom, getting that audience right there. Because once one person puts it on a blog that has a fair following, it gets to like an RSS feed, goes to put on all these reposts on these other blogs and other networks, and it just kind of takes off from there. So
Reddit and find your subreddits.
Yeah.
For example, we posted Cinesutra on a Jurassic Park subreddit. They're out there. There's a subreddit for everything.
Yeah. It's probably a subreddit for talking about using subreddits.
Probably.
Don't go down one. Next question.
It's cool, you covered it already.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, conveniently, there's a little question right there.
A bit tricky, considering one of them's not even come out completely yet, but would you consider further series for Batgirl and Brawl at some point?
Yeah, Batgirl is actually still happening. In fact, we did a lot of pre-production work right before I came out here, and we have a plan to start shooting in September or October again. So, because like I said, we kind of had to take a little bit of a hiatus, and that wasn't intended, but money, and once again, you have to keep in mind, we are doing all of this while still trying to maintain a living and a job, and not drain our savings, even though we've both done that a few times.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So hungry. But yeah, so we are going to start up again. Like I said, we have 10 episodes, God help me, mapped out. I don't know why we decided to do that. And of course, I had my huge stipulation with Batgirl is I said we cannot put out an episode without some sort of action and fighting scene, because it's a fucking comic book show. We need to have fighting in it. So every episode, to tease a little bit, our episode 3 features Batwoman, and we will be fighting the circus of crime.
So we have a huge big top location already rented out, and we have a fire whip master and flame, a lot of fire. It's gonna be a lot of fire stuff, and I really hope my cape doesn't catch on fire. Yeah, so the money we invested in my suit alone, we're definitely gonna try and get as much mileage out of it as possible. So it's, I started working on Batgirl almost 2 years ago, and I was actually in training to be Stephanie Brown for about a year and a half before we finally started shooting. Or about a year, I guess, right at a year. So I already know this is it's gonna be a big portion of my life. We're gonna be working on the series for quite some time. And it's, once again, that's kind of your own decision, like if you want to, how much you just really wanna commit to it. But we're having a great time and working with great people, so, and just, Batgirl alone, once Batgirl came out, I got cast in Proxy, which was a Slender Man short that Mike Diva produced. So that alone, I got a lot of jobs from that, and just the sheer amount of like combat training and stuff that I was getting for free for the series was worth it in itself. So yeah, there'll be lots more. And Brawl. What about Brawl?
Brawl finished. It's hard to do anything after that when most of the characters are dead. We were planning to do an animated prequel, kind of to go back and discuss the original rampage of the Cannibal Kirby. But we couldn't get the final approval. We were talking with Machinima about actually finding that. We had written up the first few episodes. We had planned out the entire first season. Never quite panned out because certain companies can be a real pain in the ass to work with. Machinima. But yeah, so currently with Brawl, there's no specific plans. We have a number of ideas, but right now we're putting a lot of our energy into original ideas, partially because I need, for as many projects as I've made for free and for fun, I need to get to a point now where the time and energy that's put into it needs to have some form of income.
As a fan, you logically understand the hard sheer work that goes into it, but basically you just want to see episode 50 of everything.
No, I totally believe you on that. I totally understand. I'd love to keep doing Brawl if I could viably make money on it. I really could. But at this point, like, I've paid my dues. I've worked on a lot of projects that have been really fun, passionate projects, and I feel like me and the people that I've developed as a team have proven themselves. We have to, going forward, make sure we're doing things with the mindset that this is our job. You know, like we're all doing other side jobs as well, but creation for us is also a job. So we have to find things viably profitable to even just a small extent. Something where we're not, at the end of it, not going to look at like, well, I spent way too much money on this and we'll never see any of it back. So, yeah.
And fan series are great. For example, the reason why we decided to go forward with Batgirl is because me and my production team, we had a ton of original series concepts and things written in the bank, but we didn't really have, it's hard to sell something original when they're like, who are you? What have you done before? And I know, like, same thing with Brawl, like School of Thrones. We went ahead and decided to go forward with Batgirl because it was a IP that already has a built-in fan base, and that speaks volumes when you're trying to get new stuff out there. So we already knew, we kind of had this where we were like, hot girls kicking ass that already has a built-in fan base. It's a hard bargain to turn down. It just means you cannot make money. But, so the first episode of Batgirl, I think, is sitting at like 250,000 views, which, you know, isn't massive, but it was enough to show what we can do and to make a little bit of a name for ourselves. And then we all started getting jobs afterwards off of that, all of us on the team. So it definitely was worth the effort and the money just for that aspect alone.
Cool.
Word.
Peace.
I would, but...
No, I would not recommend that. Next question.
Semi-recently, we've been seeing various Japanese web animations actually get licensed and put on places like Crunchyroll. And since Smash Brothers seems to be reasonably popular in Japan, do you know if it's had any impact over there or not?
I have no idea.
I'll go search it on my computer.
Yeah, no, go research that. Let me know. I would love that.
You've got a computer, right?
I would love for Brawl to have gotten really popular in Japan without me knowing, and like there's like a fan sub of it somewhere.
You can look at the analytics.
I was just saying how they got like a Japanese fan sub of our web series, and on the forums, all the Japanese fans are complaining they only watch it in the original English. Yes.
They are like us.
Next question. Ladies and gentlemen, up here.
I can project, if it's okay.
All right, go.
On the back of the income and covering costs, how much do you despise ad block?
How much do I despise ad block?
Yeah, how much do you hate it? That
I don't know.
Haven't really thought about it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, to be totally honest, guys, don't go into the web expecting to make money. At least not right now. We all kind of, you jump in feet first expecting to spend a lot of money and not make any. So it's not really that heartbreaking when you don't make any.
Yeah. It's frustrating when you want to try and monetize a little bit on a project, of course. But at the same time, we've all been that guy who's like, oh, fucking ads, close it, So I understand it's out there, but, I think we're slowly getting to a point in web culture where we're all kind of weaned back onto the idea of advertisements are how these things make money and how content's able to be produced. When people first started putting ads on YouTube after the first few years of it being out there, it was like, what is this arcade bullshit? But then they began putting second counters on advertisements. And then, you only have to sit here for 15 seconds. You're like, okay, I can sit through 15 seconds. And we've gotten to a point now where we're just finding more and more techniques to allow advertisement to be not really too obtrusive to the viewing experience, thus making us still able to produce content and make a living doing so, and not completely ruin your time watching content you didn't pay for, you lousy, broken fuck. So yeah, don't hate it, but it's frustrating, but it's necessary and it's kind of understood.
Yeah. And ultimately, a lot of these web companies, they're still trying to figure it out. And like the unions, the actors unions in Los Angeles have been having a field day with trying to figure out how to insert SAG into what we call new media. It's referred to as new media now. They're still figuring it out. It's still tricksy. So, and I know there's a lot of companies now, like a lot of people are trying to break into the web television fusion thing, which we're eventually going to see. It's going there. It's going there, and it's going there soon. It's just kind of like a wait and see game.
Cool. Next
Word.
question. Cool. I have a question down here.
With the new Smash Brothers game that's coming out, it looks highly likely like Chrom, the character you voiced in Fire Emblem Awakening, will be a playable character.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, how do you feel about going full circle from There Will Be Brawl to being in an actual Brawl game?
That would be so beyond amazing, you have no idea. Oh my god. No, I've actually already actively reached out to like 840 Studio that does all the translation for a lot of those companies. I've worked with them on a bunch of projects, and they're like, hey, so is Chrom going to be in Brawl or the new Smash Brothers? Because it's like, that'd be really cool and stuff, because I like to do that, because I'm Chrom. Thanks, guys. And so, I've been poking them, and that'd be so ridiculously, amazingly, like, ironic. It really, really would be. So, yes, I would be okay with that.
If he is in it, will that be the character you main?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he'll be the shittiest character, and I'll still main him. No, actually, no, it's probably second. I'd still probably main Luigi. Because Luigi's just so weird. So weird. I have this theory, I have this long-standing theory that Nintendo is setting up Luigi to be the next great villain. You laugh, but like seriously, because like he's like slowly losing his mind from where he once was. He was just like the brother, and now he's just like, yeah, Luigi. He's intrinsically fucked in the head. And in Smash Bros. Brawl, his super, his smash move, the whole like negative zone thing he does, the creepy dance, You're like, I don't even know what this is. Luigi, what are you doing? And you get the trophy for it, and you read the description. It's like, after years of living in the shadow of his brother, he's embraced the dark energy of his existence. I'm like, holy shit, he's going evil! This is awesome!
It's true.
So this is my theory. Any man who sits there and twitches his nose while rocking like a boat, it's going to be a villain. It's going to be a villain. Mark my words.
I forgot about the weird boat thing.
Yeah. You know, because Luigi is a boat. In the summer, Disney Home Video. Oh, it's... Yeah, it's happening. See?
The year of Luigi?
Yeah.
We have like a zodiac based off of...
Luigi-based games. Like the
right, yeah, right, yeah.
That's great.
I accidentally finished your copper bird, by the way. Oops.
That's fine. There's more where that came from. Yeah! Let's move on to the next question then.
Yep, over here. He just had his hand up for a while.
Okay, I don't know what the copyright laws over there in the States are, but after 50 years since the death of the author, a lot of it becomes public domain.
Yes.
So, like, just to pull a name out of the air, H.P. Lovecraft. It's been 50 years since he's died. Have you thought of doing, like, a series based on, say, Call of Cthulhu and making money on that?
It's definitely been brought up, especially since I had like a H.P. Lovecraft themed pseudo LARP party recently. Doing really well. As soon as we finished it, I had like Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt and a few other people come to me after and be like, we should make this into a web series. And I was like,
which we have a computer now, you can show pictures.
Oh.
If you wanted to.
Oh.
Because the pictures turned out really cool. It was, I know, was everyone pretty much in like the Geek Pride panel that was here this year and talked about? No, it was bananas. I was there. It was like a social experiment and a half.
I can't spell. What the what? The computer technology fail. Shut up! I can hold my liquor. And I can liquor when I hold her. What? I don't know what that means. Alright, what's up? Yay! Albums.
And you get a tour of Matt Mercer's Facebook.
Yay!
Here we go.
So we'll just go through some of these here. That was me dressed as the brother of the character who the mystery was about.
This totally derailed from web series.
Yeah, I know. Well, you brought this up. You can't give me shit for bringing photos you told me to show.
It's
all good. This is some of the ending script that Tara Platt's character, who was a linguist and worked as an encryption specialist in World War I, was able to translate throughout the evening. There are various maps of Arkham and scrawled notes that were tossed around. The attic that was locked shut with a key that they had to find later on. This is the crazy room where they found like sleeping bags and jars of urine in the corner and like scrawled weird notes everywhere that didn't make any sense. There's a bunch of different characters wandering. This is some of them gathering artifacts and trying to figure out what the mystery was about. This is Max. I guess you're familiar with Max Landis at all. He wrote the movie Chronicle, and is famous for his rant about the death and rebirth of Superman. He played a character that became steadily more crazy about the evening. This is during the more crazy period. There's Laura Bailey in the center. You guys know her as the voice of everything ever. She played a psychologist. There's Chloe Dykstra, who played a collector of relics and the purveyor of the Arkham Museum curiosities. You can see there in the background is the portrait of the man Oswin Trent, who the story was about, which is basically just my head photoshopped on Teddy Roosevelt's body. This portrait now resides at the top of my loft and is perpetually creepy to both me and Marcia.
Turn the corner, giant portrait of Matt with a goatee.
Yep.
That's something to kick
awful
stuff.
Photoshop goatee.
Picture of Matt's ego.
Oh, easily the ego.
So basically you have plot, characters, costumes, and props.
It's
so
a
really
lot.
the web series should be simple.
It should be really simple, yeah.
Pretty much.
But yeah, he's a doctor, David Nett. No, I wish that was my home. We borrowed a home of our friend Brian Forrest to let us do the whole party there. Doing this in my apartment would have been funny because it would have just enough room for everyone to stand and be still the entire evening. Yuri Lowenthal is the mob enforcer who eventually throughout the evening pulled out his Tommy gun, like you do. And we have here Jenny and Granty Mahara, who you guys may know from Mythbusters. He was a biologist who had a specimen of this awful little like toothed creature that he pulled from the back of a character. So yeah, it was a fun one. City photography, there's the group being weird. You can see Travis Willingham over there. There's fun going. There we are. This is a monocle on there. You see the monocle there.
This is a good picture.
It's a good picture.
Yeah.
So a one-eyed hobo character, Misha, teamed up with the salesman, Zach, over here to create false relics and sell them to other players. It's a good time. It's Jake Stormone as the Gravedigger. During the actual tension of the game.
There's Key, played
Luigi. Luigi, as the older professor character who is researching ancient languages and occult theory. Dusted up his hair, crazy notebook. And then eventually there's Liam O'Brien there as a private eye who's masquerading as just an individual. Massachusetts, blah 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 blah.
How long did it take to prepare all this stuff?
About 6 weeks. Yeah. It was 6 weeks of prep, going through antique stores and
then we were in that house for like almost a solid 3 days.
Just decorating.
Before decorating, and I got anal retentive about even the light bulbs. We bought a bunch of like old vintage light bulbs to change. It was absurd.
Yeah, this is Mercer as the young spirit medium that helped the seance at the beginning of the party.
Oh, there's Taliesin Jaffe behind me.
Yep.
Taliesin again.
Playing the opium addicted merchant sailor.
Yeah.
Having fun.
Yeah.
Oh man, the whole thing put together probably, I'm scared to say.
You deliberately stopped counting.
Yeah, I got to somewhere I was like, if I keep track of this, I'm just gonna go mad.
Yeah.
But all together, just on my end, probably for props and rentals and equipment, everything probably over $1,000. You know, for a birthday party. But it was worth it. Now I need to make serious to make up for the cash, exactly.
We also have a ton of like relics. We have a ritual table that we're like, what are we gonna do with this ritual table?
Yeah, this
make a series. Yeah, make
exactly.
a series.
Yeah, this is when they found the dead body. Everyone was dealing with it, and 3 characters discovered that they were cultists and working against the rest of the party. And then this is the crazy room, where there was just a bunch of newspaper articles about like strange murders and people that escaped from asylums and relics that were washing up on shore and strange occurrences. Exactly, we're going up. Then, where's the bear? Oh, there's Ashley Birch from Hash What You Playin', who also played Daenerys in School of Thrones, which you saw earlier. And Arina Kaba, who is another voice actor, who you may have also seen. Have any of you played Shin Megami Tensei 4 at all? Oh, it's not out here yet? Oh. Well, when he gets out here, you'll be able to hear him there. He's also in Tales of Xillia. He's Ivar, I think.
And the most recent announcement is he is now the voice of Crazy Dave in Plants vs. Zombies 2.
That's hot-wearing fun. He's crazy. It's awesome. There are the pee jars. That was not actually urine. It was just watercolor. And then trying to get to there's the portrait. It's so bad. And then we had like a key that was sewn into a doll that was hanging from a noose in the attic. We had a bunch of really just weird, interesting things. We had one key that was put into a box that was filled with dirt and night crawlers and then buried in the backyard. So when they finally found it, Taliesin reached inside to pull the key out and was like, "Why is it squishy? Why is it squirming?" But you had to dig out with a human bone because that's just how we roll.
Yeah.
You know, an actual human bone. Yeah. You find the strangest things. You know, those ghastly things at various thrift stores. So this is like a bunch of the props and stuff we just threw out on the table at the end of the night. Just them trying to go over the lock boxes and finding keys and broken things. This is the ritual room. They finally got in there. They have a bunch of speakers playing that were blasting the voice of Nyarlathotep, asking them to finish the ritual. And they eventually had to figure out, this is the table with all the glowing runes, with the room filled with fog and with candles everywhere. And then eventually they had to pick 2 artifacts to place on the ritual table. They chose the proper combination. They won. If they chose any other incorrect combination, the world was destroyed. You know.
They won though.
They won.
I was concerned. I didn't think
They
they were
won.
going to
They
do it.
managed to complete it, and this is the victory picture. Everyone half insane, trying to figure out the end. These were all the relics kind of put on top of the ritual table.
Is that a symbol for oblivion?
Those are all actually Oblivion. All of these runes are actually Elder Scrolls runes.
Something you guys should know about Matt Mercer, he doesn't half-ass anything.
It would not surprise me. We're all like, oh, that was a great party. We all walk away. All of a sudden, like, out of the ground. There's a close-up of the sample little creature with the teeth. But yeah, so we had a good time. That's the party. Woo, yeah.
Anyway, fun segue. Woo!
I think I may have to discuss this with Tara when we get back about the possibility of actually shooting this as a series.
Cthulhu.
We got it all there. It's all written. I don't see why not.
With a ton of props.
And like you said, the delight of the statute of limitations for that property is delightful. Oh, Lovecraft. So glad that you're dead from a long time ago, so you can use all the material. Awful way of putting it. Next question. The other question is here. I can't tell if you're stretching or asking a question. Or two questions.
How much time do we have left? 30 minutes? Is that the goal?
30 minutes or so.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you don't have any other questions. Oh, question! To the podium!
Basically, two questions.
Okay.
First is, I remember last time at Ayacon, it was mentioned that during the recording of Hero Brawl, there was a lot of gay chicken being played.
Yeah.
Was that something specifically with Brawl, or has it happened at other web series?
No, it was primarily that one project, just because Matt Key had the worst prosthetic mustache and nose ever, and I had the worst prosthetics on. It was just awful to watch these two like prosthetic-laden, like sweaty guys like slowly gravitate towards each other, and I couldn't win because that mustache was just awful. It was awful. Like it really.
The second, it isn't so much a question, but on a related note, I challenge you to gay chicken.
I appreciate the offer. However, this is my girlfriend right there. Don't fly.
What happened to Aya?
I appreciate the offer. I'm good. Thank you, though.
Question.
Next question.
Here we go.
I like his little like, yeah,
Related to the copyright thing, what do you think about all of the kerfuffle about companies trying to hold on and chase after people who are supposed to be infringing copyright, but the companies claim they're dubious at best?
You're referring to companies that are trying to maintain copyrights, things they don't actually have copyrights for?
Yeah, basically.
What's your best example of current something that's going on?
I don't know. Most of my examples come from the fields of patent law and such.
Oh, and like the parody.
Yeah, patent and parodies, and basically, if there's a cent to be made from asserting a copyright, some of these people will go for it, even no matter what they trump law. And related to YouTube, some copyright claims have been made that make absolutely no sense. Like I think there was a live cast of one of the shuttle launches that was taken down because of a copyright claim by a third company.
Yeah, it's getting a little ridiculous. Like the whole patent law thing. Patents are important to protect people and their ideas. But on the other hand, it's become an industry for people to patent a bunch of bullshit things and then claim that something that is barely even possibly remotely related is infringing on their copyright and try and extract and extort money from that. And it's been a rising problem in recent years. It's becoming easier and easier to submit patents. especially now that some courts are starting to vote for strange wins in that form. I think it's an unfortunate trend. I don't know how far-reaching it's going to be down the road as YouTube as a company and a very, very largely growing mega company is going to be able to let that continue and still promote a constantly growing community. You know, there's going to be a little weirdness back and forth for a long time. There's going to be a lot of shitty calls and be like, oh, that's bullshit, that doesn't make any sense. But I think it's going to balance itself out eventually, because in order for YouTube to succeed, there has to be a constant influx of new content and new ideas. And if a lot of these ideas are constantly being challenged by some asshole in his basement who sent out a patent a few years ago saying, I went ahead and copywrote a person laughing with their finger in their nose, then there's no hope for humanity. So.
Yeah, I think that also kind of goes off because I know, for example, I think like Warner Brothers has the copyright for DC related merchandise, but like not on camera stuff, which is weird, and I know a lot of that is like oddly divided. Yeah, and once again, it's kind of something else you have to like research and see, because that was something we had to research for Batgirl, because like I think someone else owns the copyrights for any on camera or anything being translated onto film, but then Warner Brothers holds the copyright for merchandise, and that gets oddly divided sometimes.
It's weird. It's just lame.
Yeah, it's once again just more hoops you have to. It's just something you gotta watch for.
More research. It's dumb. Sorry.
Stupid.
Next question. This gentleman, and then we'll get to you. And then we'll get talking about you.
Hello. We had the question earlier about more Batgirl and Brawl. Are you making any more School of Thrones?
We're in the process of getting a season 2 together. We've been talking with a specific YouTube network that I can't mention yet because we haven't gone through all the final paperwork, but we're in the process of getting a season 2 together, which will be nice because we've actually been contacted by a few cast members of Game of Thrones that want to make a cameo appearance. So we're planning that out now at the moment. So I'm excited. Hopefully we'll have an announcement at some point in the near future. So you guys just keep your eyes peeled. If we can get Sean Bean, I'll figure it out. I will figure out a very awesome creative way. Or some really lame way where he chokes on his coffee. It's like, as soon as he appears, like, Sean Bean. And that's it, that's his whole cameo. That would be kind of awesome.
That would be awesome.
That'd be great. He shows up, walks away, I'm gonna take this call, and never shows up again. What happened? Oh, he died. He got hit by a car out back. You weren't there, it was awful. Anyway.
Just his dead body falling across the camera.
Artistically slow-mo.
You don't even see him. It's actually just one of us falling in front of camera, and someone else goes, Sean Bean! He's dead! You never actually see him. Exactly. There's a question here.
Reach
around.
Just a quick one. Would you like to become an honorary member of the Ginger Alliance?
Always?
Yeah.
My theory is we need to get all the gingers and to just stand on one section, maybe a section of Australia, and just see what happens.
Yeah. We have 3 of us. We've got a lovely Orihime,
yeah.
Ranika, and a grumpy Ichigo.
Yes.
He's not sitting with us.
What the hell, man? You gotta find your people. Yes, I would be honored.
My next replacement for now.
Yeah.
I'm afraid if we actually did organize that whole Australia thing, all of you would merge into one giant omni-ginger.
Can we do it during the Australian winter, because we might just burn up?
Fair enough. Also viable. So actually don't do that at all. Don't do that. Awesome. Next question. You haven't asked a question yet.
The
UK is just passing an internet restriction law so that they can block any websites that seem to be infringing copyright, and has changed things so that it's guilty until proven innocent sort of thing now. And I know that America's tried to pass a couple of those and has failed and is still trying. But I wanted to know which side of the argument you were on, considering you do create original things online and therefore do want your money and not people to steal everything, but you also infringe copyrights, or at least get borderline that you might get shut down. So whether you're pro or against that.
Infringing on copyrights, just that phrase, it requires a certain circumstance to really, in my mind, be immoral. If you're a fan of something and you want to show your own unique spin on it, I think it's not only showing your love for the project. It's very flattering and intended to be a love letter to this license that you're going off of. Brawl itself was entirely a love letter to Nintendo raising us as children, and the Smash Bros. Series being so fantastic that we wanted to kind of do our own unique take on it. So we made sure that we didn't make any money on it, so that there was no sort of like weird ulterior motive of like, well, now we're using your property to line our pockets. That's when it gets weird and immoral, in my opinion. So I'm on the side of the argument that I think it's wrong to do the whole guilty till proven innocent circumstance, because I think there's a lot of work out there that does fall in the category of just being a fan-based love letter to these various different genres and these various different licensed properties that will get shot on continuously for that. And it's really unfortunate. However, I do feel there needs to be an active eye out there to prevent people from infringing on these copyrights and taking all these people who work, hundreds upon thousands of hours every year on these films and television shows and cartoons, who it's their lifeblood putting this together, and then somebody else decides to go ahead and make a quick buck on the side and reap benefits from their hard blood, sweat, and tears. That's when we need those sort of restrictions. It's just finding that medium ground, and it's going to take a while, because the internet is still that Wild West category where people really don't know how to control it, and should there be control, maybe a modicum of control, but how do we enforce that control? People that are making these laws are 85 years old and have never seen the internet. That's the big issue right now, is that the internet is something that is being, all the legislation is being written about by people that don't really know how to use it. How do you connect to this America Online? Oh my God. They don't quite understand what it's capable of, the positive things that it's capable of, and how it's radically changing society for the better, and allowing such a large scale of free speech, not just within the country, but within a worldwide network scale. And really bringing all these cultures from all over the world together and realizing that they're really not that different, All this xenophobia that's continuously pressed in the media, both in America and worldwide, is starting to break away because people are able to go out and find their own news. They're able to go out and talk to people and actually have a discussion and realize that, wait, we're all the same, just in different parts of the world. And so I think the internet's a beautiful thing that's just being grossly misunderstood by an older generation that doesn't want to take the time to really understand the positive aspects and instead just put restrictions on the negative. So I think it's going to be a weird period, but it's going to be a lot of that. It's going to be a lot of jumping the gun, putting restrictions where they aren't necessarily needed yet, or not thinking about the repercussions of these complete and utter shut-offs they're doing, and it'll eventually balance out in time.
I know we went through a stage in the States with the whole Parity Act, and there were a lot of people, like a lot of web content creators that were kind of like changing their there was the SOPA, the whole SOPA Act thing, which they wanted to effectively, it was kind of negating the Parity Act. And there were a lot of people that were not happy with that. So a lot of people in the States, they were basically, it would have limited the creative aspect of the web immensely. And luckily it ended up getting overturned. But the Parity Act has actually been something that's kind of saved a lot of us over in the States. And then what he said. To end my points, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is what you said a while ago about the Ayacon. I was wondering, what do they think of us? Do they think we're background characters?
For which one?
The Ayacon that you said.
Oh, Ayacon.
Yeah, do they think we were reincarnations of background characters?
That would be fantastic. Oh man, I would love to meet somebody who in a past life was the guy in episode 6 of Fushugi Yugi, the guy who was selling fine silks in the second scene. Like, really, what happened? Well, the shop went well, and I had children, and then I died. And like, all right, that's a fine past life you had there, sir. Like, that would be life.
So should we do we want to screen more stuff, or we can keep talking, or screen more stuff? What do we want to show?
Brawl outtakes.
Yeah, Brawl outtakes.
Brawl outtakes we have online. The bloopers are shot. There's a video of a panel screening of the bloopers. The quality isn't that great.
It's right.
I can sort of pick it up real fast. Bloopers. Look up there. Let's see. Which one of these seems to be better of the two? We'll say this.
The top one.
Woo!
Yeah!
That was meta as shit.
You can do back to your painter. That's gonna be first command. It's time. Let's go. Airplanes. Too many airplanes. They came in and they bombarded our people. Couldn't escape. It was terrible. I'm not to be a melee. It would be a... The boy who cried car. More people. Go loose. Thanks, kid. What? Was it hard enough? No.
So meta. Wow.
Just wait till this hits YouTube.
Oh man. Oh, that's so weird. You're gonna upload it and all of a sudden the computer's just gonna go. What happened to the computer? Any final words, last minute questions? How much time?
I'm ready now.
All right, we got 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Any last burning quick questions?
Isn't the
anyone? Up top there, you haven't asked something yet.
Isn't the Matt Mercer in a dress video on YouTube?
I'm sure that is, and you are welcome to look it up.
Are you wearing the dress today?
I don't know. I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure Sunday Night Live or closing ceremonies. There's like a trap set for me, and they're like hold me aloft, some sort of a noose, and poke me with hot brands and then force the dress on. It's going to be delightful.
No, I think that's a fantasy, Penny, not really.
That one?
Yeah.
Everyone's got
That
their
was
thing.
me.
Don't judge me. Quick question over here.
Obviously there were a couple of pitfalls in There Will Be Brawl. Turned out very well. Was filming Batgirl easier having done There Will Be Brawl and having sort of made mistakes and, you know what I mean? There must have been less hiccups.
No. No. I actually wasn't a part of There Will Be Brawl. I was not around during those times. And Matt was a co-producer on Batgirl, but he wasn't a part of like the main production team.
Yeah, I was peripherally involved. That was mainly Mercer and Sachs and all those guys there. That was their thing. So I gave them what advice I could, but it's not a fault of the experience, much as it's just a fault of the medium. That's just things you can't really plan for happen constantly, and you kind of have to roll with the punches and do the best you can. So.
Yeah. Oh God, there's so much. I mean, everything, like I said, from like deaths in the family to like costume malfunctions to we had a stunt performer get one of his tooth knocked out from a stray punch to the face. Yeah, lost locations at the last minute is always a nightmare in the
Cars broken
industry.
into.
Oh my God, yeah, the very first day of shooting, we had 2 cars get rear windows busted out.
One was mine.
One was his. Yeah, people who came onto the set and busted out car windows.
But hilariously, they didn't get anything out of my car because my back seat was filled with dress forms and stuff from the other shoot we were doing.
Right.
And all these dresses from that musical web series Kickstarter we were shooting, and whoever broke into the car was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna find a laptop or something." Why are there petticoats? Why are there so many petticoats? I can't fucking. No, they just ran off, and they didn't realize that under all the petticoats was a laptop.
Yeah. Once again, lack of budget, lack of resources. It's inevitable.
Will there be a bloopers video?
For Batgirl? Yeah. We have a few like small little like off videos. Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Probably in due time. Yeah, they'll definitely be bloopers. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
I think we can do our panel.
Background shenanigans, that's it.
Background shenanigans. It's a good circumstance, yeah. First off, I want to thank all of you guys for coming to our web series panel, and welcome once again Marissa Ray to the UK for her first time. I think she's done a fantastic job. Two quick announcements. We're going to go ahead and do signings right after this in the signing area, wherever that amorphous location is. I think it's somewhere in that direction. So follow that direction, and there's a signing. So if you need to get signed, come that way. And secondly, there is also a missing sketchbook somewhere about this convention hall. That is very valuable to the person whose sketchbook it was. So keep an eye out for it. It's a plain white sketchbook, pencil in it, a number of awesome cartoon characters designed in it. I signed one of the pages in there. If you have any idea of where this might be or manage to come across it, please do bring it to one of the convention heads at Ayacon. Bring it to me. So just keep an eye out, keep it mindful, because it's a really, really shitty thing to lose. So anyway, hope you guys have a wonderful time. Let's continue the rest of Sunday, make it awesome, and hopefully see you at the sign.